All right, the live has officially started. Welcome to the Tiny But Mighty podcast. This is episode 4. I am here with the brilliant Beverley Spencer. I am so excited to celebrate her and her business today. We celebrate small businesses exclusively on this podcast. Please make sure that you are subscribed to whatever channel you are watching this on when you do watch this, even if it is in the future. I'm E, by the way. I'm the owner of Main Street E-Market, which is hosting this podcast. So, and I'm in opposite directions in terms of where I'm pointing. So that's confusing and fantastic, but at the very least gets us going here. So a little bit about Beth before I bring her up. She worked in luxury hospitality for 20 years in UK, Saudi Arabia, and Dubai, and was a leader inside of those spaces. While she was in Dubai, she got certified as an advanced coach with an NLP Master Coach certification, which I can't wait to find out more about, and found her passion and talent was aligned with helping people to grow and develop their careers. She returned to the UK in 2017 to set up Confidence Connoisseur, which is her coaching business. And I am super selfishly glad that she did do that because I have actually been coached by Bev, which, okay, I guess I could share her with you. Fine, if you insist. But ever since, she has been helping leaders grow and navigate their imposter syndrome to be able to get their dream roles in record timing. Everybody, please welcome to the stage, Beverley Spencer. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I'm fine.
Good,
Thank you so much. Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Oh, I'm so excited that we're sitting down for this chat. Thank you so much for taking the time. Good.
That's okay. That's fine.
I'm getting a little bit of a delay here. Does it seem like we're getting a little bit of a delay?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It does.
Let's hope it shakes itself out. It'll be okay. We're very long distance on this call, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. So I guess we could give it a little bit of a break on it. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself before you owned a business. What is your story? What brought you to the point where you were actually taking that career coaching certification? What brought you to that?
Well, actually, it was a great introduction. And in a nutshell, what you said kind of like puts it all together. I come from the background of leisure and hospitality, leading teams, doing a lot of business development. I've worked in the UK, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. And, during that time, I kind of met a lot of people. And I guess the turning point for me really was I met somebody, bless her, shout out to Misbah, who kind of started me of really honing in on my strengths. And she said to me one day, bizarrely, hey Bev, you're so good giving people advice and helping them. She said, the way that you actually speak and communicate with somebody, that you really people's attention. And I think you'd be a great coach. And I thought, really? And it's interesting when somebody else echoes that message back to you, you start to see the truth in what they're actually saying. Because in all my years of working in hospitality and working in leisure, the one thing that I absolutely loved about my role was my team, the team that I was leading. And specifically the part that I loved doing most, which came quite naturally to me, was helping them to get their promotions, helping them in their cross training, helping them to grow, to develop, to step outside of their comfort zone was my strongest area. And it always used to come up. But it was sort of like water off a duck's back. The old imposter syndrome. No, that's not me. I didn't do that myself. I'm not great at that sort of stuff. I wasn't able to kind of take that feedback in at the time. I wasn't ready to receive it until I met Misbah one day.
Yeah.
who said exactly the same thing to me as other people. But this time round, I took notice and I couldn't get it off my mind. And I just kept thinking about it and thinking, yeah, I am good at that. And I started realizing, well, yeah, this is where my strength is. And I had a coaching session, a couple of coaching sessions myself. I was having a few problems at work and I wanted to experience it. So I reached out to a coach and had an amazing experience. And that was it for me. I was just like, this is what I'm born to do. I want to be on the other side of the table helping other people. So
Yes.
that's what led me to, I spoke to my coach who sort of like signposted me to where he got his qualifications from. And that was it. And that was life-changing for me. Because obviously on the course, it's more about you learning about yourself.
Right.
And using these amazing tools and techniques to help you, to help myself see myself through a different lens. And that's when I started getting wake-up calls all over the place about how I had been holding myself back.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And so
I love the idea that
of time, I did a lot of work on myself.
Yeah, I just love the fact that I just love the fact that you've heard it from more than one person, and it happens to us where we hear these compliments, and first of all, we're not wired for compliments. We're not wired to take in the positive. We only want to think of the negative, and then we self-berate and all of that kind of stuff. But the fact that the compliment bounced off until it was just the right moment, because you were exactly where you needed to be ready to pop in to that course and then dive deeper. And, because I think that the timing really matters. If you've heard it from multiple people, the one that finally breaks through, it has to be a timing thing, right?
Absolutely. People have been telling me all the time the evidence was there, but I really didn't think that it had anything to do with me. I was just like, well, and it is everything to do with the other person, but it's the catalyst, the person that sort of like sees that opportunity, sees somebody's strengths, and is like, hey, guess what I notice about you? You are great at that, great at that. I see this about you. I see that about you. And people were just gravitating towards me. The staff were. And we had a great team. I've always managed really great teams. And that engagement piece has always been there with me. So there was always that something there, but I just wouldn't recognize it in myself. And like you said, interesting that you just mentioned that those people said that to me over and over again, but I didn't recognize it in myself. It was when I was, at the time when I met Misbah, I was unhappy at work.
Ooh.
And that's when I was ready to receive the feedback because I didn't know what it is I wanted to do,
Yeah.
Light bulb moment.
Absolutely.
That was what it was. That's
that.
when I was ready to receive because I wasn't happy at the time.
Yeah.
And so I've never looked back, went into that training feeling really enthusiastic, really excited about change. And I absolutely ate personal development for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all I kept thinking about all day long was, my journey, how I was going to help my team with what I'd learned, embedding the habits and behaviors myself day in, day out. It was just so much fun and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, you know what, I'm ready for career change.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. And now from your role as a leader with the team, you are a sponsor and a leader and a mentor because you're hands-on, you're there. And I don't know if you've seen any of this in the leadership development space, but the difference between a coach, a leader, and a sponsor, where as the leader of a team, you get opportunities to be in a room that they never get the opportunity to be in, and you can be their sponsor and bring up their name in that moment that they're talking about that promotion opportunity and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, how hard was it for you to transition out of I know the people and I get to be in those rooms and have those conversations about these promotions when you move into the coaching space where you didn't have control over the place that they were in, and the only thing that you could do was talk to that person. How big of a shift was that for you?
Mhm. There was, you know what, there was so many different changes because these were brand new relationships, people that I didn't know, but they'd come to me with problems that they were having. And so the shift there wasn't too difficult because I kind of meet people where they are. Um, the way that in which I coach people is very non-judgmental anyway. People seem to open up and are able to tell me where they're at. And a lot of the times I can so relate to that other person. They may have a different story, but the feelings and where we end up are the same, and how things manifest are the same. The shift in that respect I found quite easy when it came to one-to-one coaching, because that's what I was familiar with. But the shift that was difficult was when it came to group.
Ooh, okay,
And I was in
interesting.
a
Say more.
different environment,
Okay.
different environment when there's a lot of people.
Mhm.
That's where I was outside of my comfort zone, going into corporate organizations and coaching groups. And so there was big changes that I had to make there, a shift in attitude, identity shifts, belief shifts, to be able to comfortably sit in those spaces and take up space in those spaces confidently.
Wow, I love that. I love that. So, what did
I
you
think
want to
there's a
be when
delay
you?
still.
Yeah, there still definitely is. There really is. It's a little silly, but that's okay. We're working our way through it. It'll be on the editing room floor. Don't worry. Um, so, um, what did you want to be when you were little? What did little Beverly want to be at 7 years old?
Oh my gosh, you know, I wanted to be on the stage. I was a singer, dancer. I knew every single pop record. And where I didn't know the words, I'd ad lib and make up my own words. And my friends and that would laugh and say, "It doesn't go like that." And I'd be like, "To me, it does." You know, and I wanted to dance. And one of the things that I absolutely loved, Erica, was musicals.
Yeah. Oh, musicals. Okay.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers musical. What do you call it? I can't remember what the other one is. The famous musical. Um, oh crumbs! I can't even remember the names of them that now.
Oh,
Sound of Music. That was another one.
oh,
The King and
yep,
I. You know,
yep.
those great. I used to, when those musicals came up, that little girl Beverly used to be jumping around, dancing. I thought I was Anna. I would be on top of the hills are alive, and I'd get on absolutely everybody's nerves. But I was also in the choir, and
Oh,
I'd
good.
do
Yeah.
solo singing as a young girl. Um, and then I don't know what happens. We grow up.
Yeah. We do. We do. I same for me.
Yeah,
That's
we
another
grow
thing that
up
we
and
have
we
in common.
about
I did the choirs, loved all of the musicals. I've lived so close to New York City, so Broadway was within reach and attainable for me. I ended up seeing quite a few different musicals on Broadway because of that. But I did chamber choirs and sang in those performances that we did in school and stuff like that. And gosh, it's so good. But I think that that really lends itself to being able to be on screen now, right?
yes, but it didn't come that easily again. You know, moving from doing one-to-ones face to face with people to having my own business. I'll just tell you a quick story. It's so funny. it always sticks out in my mind. When I first did a very first podcast, I wrote down absolutely everything that I was going to say. I was so nervous. I was so nervous. It was that bad that the record, I don't even think the lady that did the podcast, I don't even think she just lost the tape. It was that bad. She actually told me that it hadn't been recorded, and I was just like, liar. You know, I was such a nervous wreck though. I was so nervous. And I mean, look how far, when I look back at that occasion where I scripted everything because I was so scared of missing things out. I wanted everything to be perfect, to now being able to, again, take up this space and just be me, you know, and not have to script anything and to just have that conversation, you know, with you, you know, and, you know, my main thing is be able to provide value to you, Erica, to the people that are listening. And that's where my focus is, where before I was so focused on myself and the nerves and what I looked like and what my voice sounded like. And so you lose the essence, and people lose the essence of who you are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah. So you started your business officially in 2017, but tell me a little bit more about those certifications, the NLP thing. What does that all mean? How is that different from other different types of coaching, I guess, is really the relevant question.
Well, neuro-linguistic programming is all about how we see the world and language, how the filters that we see the world through, how we pick up information from our senses. So that's what all the NLP is about. It's about neurology, the language, and your programming. So how we filter information through our senses. And so we learned so many things on that course about how to reframe language. We looked at words and what they meant. We're looking below the surface of words and how they impact how we show up in the world. So it was an amazing course. And then the other side of it was behind the science, was all about coach to client, asking those great questions that unlock your potential. So I was for 6 weeks, and then I did another level at master level neuro-linguistic programming, and I love it. You know, that's so awesome. They're great tools, great things to learn about. Yeah.
They are, and I wish we had more of it in our society from a leadership standpoint. Think about how much better. Think about how much better our society would be if everybody was looking at their lens through which they were viewing something, because I think it would make even political discourse completely different if we could say, okay, but what lens are you looking at that through? Okay, but what perspective are you taking here? Instead of just the immediate, well, shut down and nervous system dysregulation, and we agree to disagree and walk away. No, that shouldn't be where it has to go. If we all had that connection to, well, this is my lens, and the reason why I'm saying this is, maybe we can actually solve some problems. So hopefully more people start to get into that along the way. I'd love to see that be democratized.
I believe that is happening more and more. I won't tell you my age, but back in the day when I first started in my leadership journey, coaching was not around too much. It was a case of the training wasn't really there. You know, I remember my first leadership position, I didn't really get much training. It was a case of, you know, you're this and now you're that. And so it's just trial and error without, you know, sorry, good luck. Yeah. You know, but now these days, I mean, progressive companies, they are seeking leaders who have a coaching style to their leadership. Those coaching conversations, which were that are anchored with a lot of curiosity. And so You're not just looking at the world through your lens, you're seeing how somebody else understands how they see things. And in that conversation, that coaching conversation where it is open, where it is more fluid, you're able to learn a little bit more about how the other person sees the world. And it also allows itself to, for you to challenge another person, or somebody to challenge you on your
I
beliefs and
love
what
that.
you're thinking about. Because so many times I'll say certain things, and because we say them all the time, we don't actually realize how these words are impacting at how we feel and how we're showing up in the world.
Hmm.
You know,
No, that's
so
amazing.
from a leadership standpoint, yeah, so I was able to be more impactful and make more of a difference when I did my NLP course, when I did my coaching. I was more of an effective leader in the workplace, and I managed to get things done a lot quicker, resolve conflicts a lot faster.
Yeah.
That engagement gap that was, I was able to have better conversations, better relationships with the people that I worked with. The relationship was already great, but it got even better as I developed my coaching skills and embedded those habits that I was learning.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. So, is what you're doing right now what you thought you would be doing when you first set out to start your business?
I love that question. Hilarious. No, not at all. When I first started my business, I was absolutely everything to all people, going nowhere.
Yep.
I knew that I wanted to coach. That was a definite thing. I was just like, I want to coach, I want to help people. Um, and I just went, but the good thing is that I just started and I literally jumped in. I didn't even think about what I was doing. So in one way, it slowed me down, but in another way, it taught me so many things just to get started. So
Yeah.
progress. So I started off being just talking about everything and anything online. And then I started to see a pattern. And the pattern involved, I was like, one day I got up and I was like, what do my clients really come to me for? What's the golden common thread here? And that's when I realized that people were coming to me for exactly what I was doing that I loved, which was everything to do with careers and career progression.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
even see it. And so I niched where I should have niched a long time, a lot quicker, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it took me a while. But I also feel that I didn't know who I was serving or who my clients were, because I think deep down there was also that secret of, do I know enough? That old imposter came back up and started questioning me. Do you know enough to do this? Do you know enough to do that? If you do career coaching, what do you know about blah 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 blah? And actually, it's
Right.
been fine. I do know enough.
Absolutely. Because the people part is
So
going to
in
be
answer
the
to your
same.
question, sorry.
Sorry, I said absolutely because the people part is going to be the
I think
same, no matter what their industry and everything else. Your skills through that NLP are going to be applicable no matter what
absolutely,
industry and what they're doing.
absolutely. So yeah, it's interesting how when I look at the journey now, where I started was not who I am today, and that is still evolving, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
as I'm growing, the business is now taking on a few more legs and arms. So in terms of offering more services around careers. So yes,
I love that.
so
I love that. Just
nothing
because you
like
niche
the
down
picture
doesn't
that I
mean you
thought that I
only
was
do
going
one
to be
thing.
doing.
Right, right.
No, there's lots of things that I do. you know. But my main thing is all about growing in your career. 85,000 average hours that we spend at work. So you best be happy, you know.
Seriously.
So there's the worst thing to be at work and not be in a role that aligns with your values.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot of hours,
Yeah. Think about how much
you
time
know.
you could
So
be doing
I,
what you love. Sorry, this delay is really it's tough, isn't it?
it's okay. We're doing a
Yeah.
cracking job.
All right. So
We're working with what we've got, Erica. That's how we do it.
leaders adapt, right? We got to go for it. What would you say is your hardest part of being an entrepreneur so far? What has been the toughest part?
The hardest part. I love that question. And it came to me in a flash. And it's something that I'm still working on now. Faith.
Yeah.
Being faithful. Just because your circumstances and your reality around you hasn't changed doesn't mean that you're a failure or things are not working. A little exercise that I've chosen to do, which has been very powerful for flexing my faith muscle, is this little book here. And it's my blessings book. And
Okay.
every day I write down the little miracles that show up in my life. Bullet point. Little surprises, unexpected surprises. Those blessings, they add up over a year. And every Christmas Eve, I read my book, my blessings book, and it just makes me smile of all the surprises that came my way that were not expected. And it helps me to realize that things are working out, not in the way that I want them to work out. They're working out even better
Yeah.
than what I anticipated. And so that's really helped me to let go. Having this blessings book has helped me to let go of the outcomes. My job is to show up, whatever
Yeah.
that looks like, to keep going, to trust the process, because the right people, the right words I'm going to read the right article, the right book's going to turn up, the money's going to show up. It's just going to show up. But I recorded in my blessings book, and that helped me to stay in the game. Gratitude, blessings, literally counting them day by day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
faith
building a
has
habit.
been one of the building habit. It's one of my favorite practices to do. And every time, again, NLP technique, when I feel that something's not working, because we do go back into those old habits. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is working, blah, 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 blah. All I do is look at that cover as an anchor to remind me of the thousands of entries that are in there already from the last 2 years.
That's awesome.
When I said I would like to have this and I've worked towards it in my business, and things weren't working out and things weren't showing up, and then all of a sudden something even better happens. And it really has helped me to sort of like detach from the outcome and enjoy the journey and the process. It's just so beautiful. Getting all passionate.
Yeah. For me, it's a newer thing for me in the past few years to feel the way that you're describing. and to really focus in on that. Because my entire life, growing up in a very tumultuous household, I thought that if I just planned enough steps ahead, I would be safe. And if I could plan ahead of their bad mood or hangover or potential argument, I could be in a position where everybody would be safe. I could plan my way out of the chaos of life, is what I had convinced myself. And as a young person, it worked actually, because planned my way through very good marks in high school and getting into college and doing very well in college and staying organized, even though I had ADHD and was unmedicated. And so I kind of proved that bad system right with some kind of data that supported it, that said, yes, this was you, this was your planning. If not for your planning, this all would have gone to pot. And it all ended up looking very similar to what I expected it to look like at the end. So having to go through and deprogram the idea of that, because once we get to this spot in life, well, there's no rule book, there's no roadmap anymore. There's no, well, you do this, you get the good grades, you go to university, then you get the job, then you know, all of these other parts of life that go on, that it's gone. So having the, and you've helped me a lot with this in our conversations, but having the, I'll know it when I feel it mindset, instead of, I know exactly what I want, was a really big, difficult shift for me to make, because I can envision that product as I'm making it and building it and program, whatever it's going to be. But if that's not what people need and they're asking for something else, I have to be capable of being open to that. And that's the best way for me to do that. And so I really, really appreciate that you're mentioning that. I think it's so valuable for everybody to hear.
You're welcome.
Oh.
You're welcome. I think that line was really terrible just then.
Yeah, it started to get all messed up. So what is your favorite part on the flip side?
My favorite part is I get to meet amazing people like Erica O'Hara, people like you. I get to meet the most incredible clients. They're just yummy. And to see and witness their growth, they do the work, it just sets my soul literally on fire. To see the transformation, to see the way that their lives have changed, to see the difference that they make, the impact that they make, and how that then changes the lives of those people around them.
Yeah.
My life feels so rich, has been enriched. And it's, you know, when they are winning, I feel as if I'm winning too. And I'm still learning from my, I'm learning from my clients. Yeah. They're helping me to reaffirm things, or I feel exactly the same. They help me to get to know myself even more. I mean, it's just incredible. The change, to see the transformation and the change in people is just, I feel it's just such a privilege to be really trusted with people's, because they come to you, with everything that's going on with them, their stories, how they feel. And you cannot do that with everyone, but for my clients to put that trust in me means everything.
Yeah.
To see them make those shifts and transform their lives is exceptional.
Oh, I can relate to that so much as a former educator, and being in leadership. Your team is who you're really, focused on. So this is your team, but your team usually has teams because you're coaching leaders. You're coaching people who are higher up in their organization. So you think about making a difference for them. That makes a difference for their team too, and their families and their friends. And Gosh, that's awesome. I love that.
I just really feel that I'm, and that just make the difference that coaching and I call myself a career strategist, the difference that makes in people's lives. I just feel that I'm making this a much better place to live in. I'm doing my bit and it feels so good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So if you could change anything about setting up a business, now I know that you're in the UK and I'm in the US, so there might be some differences potentially, but I maybe not. If you could make a difference in setting up a business or operating it day to day, I'm going to give you a magic wand and you can change anything. It doesn't matter if it's a law or anything. What would it be?
Oh, crumbs, if I could change anything in this world
Yes.
or in my business, or
In your business
can I change
specifically, or
something in the career world?
yes, in the career world, I'd love to know.
Yeah, can it be anywhere in an organization, anything? Yes,
Yes,
please.
yes.
Right. Okay. So this is something that's important to me. As a Black woman, I would like to see more Black senior leaders in spaces where they are not right now.
Me
And
too.
there's a
Can
lot
I
of
sign on
Black
the dotted line for that one?
female leaders who are very capable. They're very capable, but not getting into those spaces because of the mindset of other people. I stand for
Yeah.
fairness.
Yeah.
And it's very dear subject to me personally, because throughout my leadership career, I never saw anybody that looked like me. I was not represented. I saw every single other nationality, but nobody that was female and nobody that looked like me. And so, with bearing that in mind, years ago, I actually felt that I couldn't go any higher in my career because I didn't subconsciously see anybody like me.
Yeah.
And so, if there's something that I could change, is the mindset of ignorant people.
Yeah.
And, really put the diversity, equity, and inclusion into their businesses and not just let it be a tick box exercise, but an opportunity where all people are able to thrive and given equal opportunities. So if anything that I could change in this world right now would be, that's quite dear to my heart.
Absolutely.
And from lived experience myself. And, I have I coach everybody, not everybody, but senior leaders. And some of those leaders are Black women that are struggling to get into those spaces.
Yeah.
So
And that's got to be hard
for attitudes.
That's hard from a coaching standpoint. Yeah. So,
Sorry?
I mean, that's hard from a coaching standpoint because knowing that there are factors that are working basically actively against that person that you're coaching from getting in. And let's get back to the DEI thing actually being meaningful. First of all, I want to see more representation on all of these boards, but that person doesn't also double as your DEI specialist. Just because they are a person of color or of the LGBTQIA plus community or anything else like that does not mean that they have a responsibility to teach you anything. No, pay somebody to do that separately. That is a separate role that requires that dedicated time, energy, and focus. Could not agree with you more. But then the idea that you're not seeing yourself in those leaders and feeling like you have that hope for that future. And then we're talking about this in 2024 and it's still not different. There's no meaningful teeth behind any of the policies that they're putting in place, because if there were, it would be different already. It would have changed if they really wanted it to change.
Absolutely. That's for everybody, all women, men, LBQT, everybody. There should be that fairness there, and it's just not there. And as you mentioned, you know, from a coaching standpoint and speaking with other Black women who do come to me for coaching, they know what it is that they need to do, you know, in terms of moving forward in their careers. You know, sometimes it's about, because there are some really great companies out there who do practice DE and I, and there are those people there in those positions. But if you're not able to get into those positions, you know what they say? They build your own door.
Yeah.
And walk right through it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And practice.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you use that word. That word is really important. Instead of just preach, you need to find that company that walks their talk, because a lot of these companies are nothing but talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to see. Magic wands for attitudes to change and get with the program. You know, we've got the new mobiles out now. You know, attitudes can change too.
I love it. Awesome.
The world's evolving. The new. Go ahead.
So, what would you say to somebody who's getting ready to start their own business? Do you have any advice that you would give to them?
Ooh, yes. Don't worry about where to start. Start anywhere. And the rest will come together. It just does. It's law. It just does. The first step is the hardest, but if you're able to take that first step, it doesn't matter where you start. And that was one of the things that I did really well. I just started. And I'm a testament to things do come together. And good luck to anybody out there that, you know, is going to take that mighty step and create the work that they want to do. So yeah, best wishes.
Oh, I love that. You really helped me to get over quite a few things that were holding me back in terms of getting started. So I really appreciate you being able to identify some of those roadblocks. And I'm using air quotes because they were not real. And you and I both know that they were my silly excuses for not going forward, for not getting started and diving in. And I am very, very grateful that you were able to do that for me. All right. So
you are welcome, Erica. You are welcome.
If customers could, future customers, there's a leader who's watching this right now.
I didn't quite hear you, Erica. Sorry.
The lag. And I'm trying to figure out if it's my computer, but I see myself pretty like on time on here, and it feels like you're on time. And then anyway, we'll get there. If there is a leader who is watching this right now, or a corporation who is looking for a coach, and they could take away one thing about you, what would you hope it would be?
Oh, crumbs, one thing that they would take away from me. I walk my talk. So yes. In terms of me being a coach, I have, how can I put this? Give me a second while I just formulate this together.
Sure.
I'm in the trenches of my own growth. Those steps are not easy steps to take. And so I would say 4 words. Yeah, I'm the real deal when it comes to walking your talk. Yes. And I think that that's what makes me stand out. Yeah. I love that when I'm talking to people.
Yeah, I love that that's part advertisement and part disclaimer too, right? If you want someone who's going to come in and just talk and not expect results, you need another person. That is not what you are coming there for.
I'm all about transformation. transforming from the inside out, and do so that you can witness the miracle that you are yourself. It's not about me telling that client who they are. That people never believe you. Or you're brilliant, you're brilliant. You can speak until you're blue in the face. It's about helping that other person take those steps so that they can see it, they witness who they are. That's where that aha moment comes from. Faith, trust, all of that comes from you seeing it with your own insights.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. And it's so organic and powerful in that moment too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So most of the time I like to talk about simple ways that we can support small businesses without spending any money. Because if somebody's watching this and they want to support you, but they are not looking for a coach, is there something that they could do that would be supportive, even from a social media standpoint, anything that you can think of?
Yes, I like support it. I always support small businesses. I'm a small business, and the way that I find most powerful is to listen to the problem that that person solves. And then you may be in a conversation one day and you'll be like, oh, you know what? Speak to Erica. She knows how to do that. And this is how you can get hold of her on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I guess it's about listening, because, and I always listen to the problem people solve. And then if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'll be like, hey, I know somebody that can help you. And then signpost that person to where they can find you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that
There's
doesn't
also
cost a
other
thing.
ways, liking a post.
Yes.
Doesn't cost anything. Liking a post, sharing a post,
Yeah.
Commenting on a post. All
Yeah.
of these things, going
No,
into
I love
somebody's inbox and saying, if you've really got something out of what somebody said, get online and tell them how much it meant to them, how it changed you, your thinking, how it's helped you.
it's
I
so
think those are a
fantastic.
good couple of ways that, of helping a small business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a negativity bias in our brains, right? So even thinking about that positive comment of saying, gosh, that made my day, most people will scroll away after you made their day. They're not going to even say anything. So taking the time to allow that positive feeling a little bit more time inside of your body, to give that positive review of a small business, or to tell them that you loved that post, or to actually interact and engage with their post, knowing that the vast majority of businesses across at least the United States, from statistics wise, 99% of businesses are small businesses. And I'm confident that that is the same worldwide. So knowing that the vast majority of business posts that you see are a single person on the other end that's posting it, they're going to really appreciate it. You might make their day after they made your day with that post by actually interacting and engaging with it.
It also acts as a random act of kindness. Don't you think?
Yeah,
A random act of kindness, don't you think, Erica?
it really is.
It makes the world go round in a positive way.
Yeah,
Just to stop by and just say that I really appreciated that. This is how it helped. Um, yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. Oh, I
It's a
love
nice
that so
thought.
much. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up? Because we are nearing the end of our time.
Anything that I'd like to add? Nothing that I can think of. If anybody wants to connect with me, people, business owners, you can get me on LinkedIn on Beverley Spencer. Ley. for Beverley. So that's where,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to get hold of me, they can get me there.
You broke up just a little bit at the end, so I'm going to make sure that I pop links to all of that down in the comments wherever this is at the current moment that you're watching it, so that you have an easy way to be able to get right to Bev's page on LinkedIn and her homepage, so that you can reach out if you are interested in finding out more. If you are at a point where you are struggling with your career, feel like you're stagnating, Bev is the person for you to talk to. And if you're starting up your own business too, I mean, I don't know if that's really your target market, but you really helped me with that as well. So that was just such an amazing experience. I don't know that everybody has that luxury.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because people, they're normally transitioning in their career from either going, upgrading their career in some way and going into another workplace, or they're transitioning from employee to business owner. So those stages, those first steps of starting anywhere.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much. All right, Bev, I'm going to wrap us up now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all of your time.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Tiny But Mighty podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to be able to be here. I will make sure that I get those links in the comments as soon as humanly possible. And please make sure that you are sharing, liking a post, heading over to Bev's page and checking out more about what she does. She is fantastic. Once again, please make sure that you are shopping small whenever possible. And we'll be back Thursday at 1 p.m. for our next episode with Laura McLean from Small Business Moms. Take care.